Unless you live under a rock, you know that TikTok is where all the woke people are. Instagram is dead. Old news, not the wave. Everyone is leaving Instagram and going to TikTok, the realest app. The app where everyone can let their hair down and just be natural. No one is judging you. Come as you are, right?
Am I the only one that hates Instagram, but I still log on and I still post and I still add to my story?
Cool. TikTok may be a place where people aren't as pretentious as Instagram, but that doesn't make it any less of a toxic environment. In fact, for me, it's when things are less obvious that I find them to be more dangerous. And I was just thinking, a lot of people had a lot to say about how much consumerism Instagram promotes, which is completely understandable. It's true. I'm honestly over Instagram as well. But again, that doesn't make TikTok the app that people should necessarily be on. In fact, I think we all know that anything that encourages us to stay glued to a screen all day can't be healthy for us. But what I specifically want to talk about today is the problem with TikTok's constant promotion of consuming all types of products, whether it be skincare, clothing, makeup, or electronic gadgets. There is literally always something that is the next best thing that you just absolutely need in your life. And I know we experience this anyway with commercials being shoved in your face, whether or not you're on your phone. Like, there are literally ads on the train, on the bus, on the street. But to be on TikTok is to constantly be exposed to people buying ridiculous amounts of things that they don't need and just acting like it's completely normal. The more you're fed an idea, the more normalized it becomes and the more likely you are to participate in it, which is why I think this is something that we have to be mindful of. And I just want to be clear that in this video, I'm not necessarily talking about people who are shamelessly advertising a product that we obviously know is sponsored, because I already know that people will be in my comments talking about influencers need to feed themselves too, and this is their job. I literally know that. I'm not dense. I'm mainly talking about the normalization of overconsumption in less obvious ways, like hauls that don't specifically let us know that we're being sold something. And I have absolutely no strong feelings of dismay toward creators who may consciously or unconsciously promote overconsumption, because I can admit that it's even satisfying for myself seeing restock videos, clothing hauls. But, and a big but, that doesn't mean we can't have a conversation about how constantly consuming this content can affect us in less than optimal ways. So let's talk about it. I think one of the main reasons why it's so easy for TikTok to influence people to overconsume is because of this idea that TikTok is supposed to be a safe space. I know I'm not the only one who notices this, but whereas Instagram is seen as the villain app that makes you hate yourself and be obsessed with glowing up, TikTok is often talked about as a place where people can be authentic and they're just not viewed as being on the same level of toxicity. Okay? Like, TikTok and Instagram are viewed in completely different lights, in my opinion, especially by the younger generations. I feel like people aren't as guarded when navigating TikTok because of this idea, and that makes it even more difficult for people to notice themselves getting ready to buy shit that they don't need because of a video they just watched. So one of the biggest communities on TikTok is the skincare girly community. It's where you will literally find all things skincare, from routines to hauls to recommendations, and it can generally be such a fun place to be, let me tell you. But unfortunately, this is literally where you will find some of the largest promoters of overconsumption on the platform. So think about it. Your guard is down and you're watching this. This is someone's skincare collection. This is the type of video I'm talking about. It's not only subtle advertising, but it's on an app that many don't have their guards up on. And it's like, this is literally so much skincare. And going to the comments, you see most people approve of this and even see it as aesthetically pleasing or goals. And we see it all the time, how teenagers are attaching the number of things they have to their self-worth. It's really about having things that other people want. And in that case, you will never have enough because there will always be the next best thing. And given the rate at which we consume content, specifically on TikTok, we'll find the next best thing rather quickly. This is why every week there's a new viral TikTok product and everyone is saying that you absolutely need it. It's never ever going to be enough when you're following trends. I want to talk about aesthetics on TikTok. I think aesthetics have a lot to do with this pressure to overconsume as well. Like, we all know TikTok is a place where being aesthetically pleasing is worshipped above all. And oftentimes, overconsumption and aesthetics go hand in hand. Essentially, people are more excited by the way things look rather than the actual function of them. It looks great to have a closet full of clothing, even if you don't wear half of it, or a cabinet full of skincare, even though you're not sure what works and what doesn't. And it's especially off-putting when something like self-care or skincare is linked with overconsumption, because those are both things that are important to most people and I think we all want to participate in. But when it's always seen through this unattainable lens, it begs the question, am I excluded from taking care of myself because I have less disposable income? Can only rich people take care of themselves in a way seen fitting to society because tons of expensive products is the prerequisite? On top of all this, the way we're fed this information is again so subtle, and sometimes we feel like we're watching a friend have our guards down while being lied to and being persuaded to buy these products. And here's what I'm talking about. There's this general idea pushed that creators with beautiful skin have beautiful skin because they use all these products and not because of their genetics. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've never used high-end skincare. Some of these products are actually really nice and effective, but a lot of these creators with beautiful skin were literally born with it and or have never dealt with problem skin in their life. And what's sick is the way they use product after product almost to make you think that a 20-step routine is the way to go. Majority of these girls doing the glass skin videos have clear skin despite the 20 products that they're putting on their face back to back, not because of it. You can ask a dermatologist and they will tell you very, very quickly that this is not a good practice and may cause irritation over time, especially if you have sensitive skin. You know what this reminds me of? The BBL exercise gurus. Because why did any of us think that these girls attain their bodies from doing kickbacks? But yeah, that is what I'm reminded of when I see this, being sold a dream. If you want to look like this, then this is what you need to do. When in reality, no. Just no. Obviously, the two situations have their differences, but at the end of the day, you're still being influenced under false pretenses. I just feel like when people aren't being honest, it's so much easier for you to be influenced into buying products that you don't need because you don't really have all the information that you need to make an informed decision. Like, I believe that if people knew that some of these people had clear skin their whole lives, they'd be so much less inclined to go buy things that they see on TikTok. I don't think we should only see overconsumption as an issue just when referring to more expensive products. You can be buying a ton of affordable things that you don't need, and that doesn't make it any better. You've probably already bought the 5-minute journal, or more recently the shadow work journal that everyone is on TikTok crying about, saying it changed their lives. It's always this idea that you'll be missing out on something if you don't get this thing right now. I feel like there's this huge FOMO culture constantly cultivated on TikTok with things like the shadow work journal, but it doesn't get criticized the same way as other forms of advertising. They cultivate this false sense that you're missing out on something the same way many of us complain that Instagram did and continues to do to this day. And it's just unnecessary, really. I don't want to be that person, but all you need for shadow work is Google, a pen, and paper. You don't need a fancy journal for anything, but that is the message that people relay when they make these videos saying that you absolutely need this and your life will be changed. So I already mentioned that excessive clothing hauls drive overconsumption on TikTok. And the main issue that I know for a fact that obviously I'm not the only one who has a problem with is the lack of sustainability ethics practices by the majority of these popular brands. Some of the most popular brands using clothing hauls happen to also be some of the least responsible. I'm talking about fast fashion brands that constantly push out new styles every day. Who is making the clothing and are they being paid fairly? are their working conditions safe? How is mass production affecting the environment? Take a company like Shein, for example. They're known for being unsustainable, but still happen to be one of the top, if not the top, fast fashion provider. Shein has been called out for mass production on a daily basis, although the CEO came out and said that only some items are mass produced once they become popular. It's not just the fact that they're producing these items in ridiculous quantities every single day and probably overworking their employees, but they also use a ton of oil and polyester. This article literally says that their manufacturing methods produce the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions as 180 coal-fired power plants. Shein alone leaves about 6.3 million tons of carbon dioxide in its trail every year. Obviously, this isn't common knowledge, and I don't think most people would want to be involved in killing the environment, which is why we have to educate each other in constructive ways. I want to wrap this video up by letting you guys know that I am literally not innocent in anything that I just mentioned. I've bought fast fashion, I've filmed hauls, I've had ridiculous amount of makeup and tools, but this is something I'm actively working on changing. Through research, I know the dangers of overconsumption and that engaging in these practices just so you can say that you have a ton of things is literally not worth it. We have to think about the impact on labor laws, the environment, our own bank accounts. I think we need to continue making these observations, having these conversations, and trying our very best to do better as individuals. Isn't that how we make the world a better place? Yes. Yes, it is. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I have been literally going through some shit lately that I'm not ready to talk about, but I will be vlogging a lot in the future, and I will be sharing my experience through what I'm going through on my other channel called More Missy Miss. So be sure to check out my channel and show some support. Start subscribing because there's content coming, and follow me on TikTok at _MissyMiss. Follow me on Instagram at _MissyMiss, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you and bye.